experience is a waste. No learning is a waste. No job is a waste. It's a waste when you don't make advantage of it. When you don't take advantage of it. Everything Allah will give you is an opportunity. A young man came up to me after my program and said, Ustad, I feel really bad. Why do you feel bad? Well, I'm studying accounting. Well, I guess you should feel bad. But explain more why you feel bad. But he feels bad because he wants to be studying deen instead. And instead he's studying accounting, which is dunya. So I said, why do you don't like accounting? You don't like the subject? I mean, I understand that just if you don't like accounting, that just means you're a normal human being. No, he goes, I love accounting. I really like it. I love the math. I love doing the numbers. I enjoy it. But I just feel bad that I'm doing this to make my career better and get a job and get married and make my parents proud and all of this. All of that is dunya. What am I doing for deen? I'm just doing all of this for dunya. You understand the question, right? And a lot of people feel that way. They have a successful career. They're an executive or they're getting an MBA or they're getting a PhD, and they're not getting a PhD in hadith or sharia, they're getting a PhD in microbiology. They're getting a PhD in psychology. They're getting a PhD in history, something. And they're like, well, this is just worldly, it has nothing to do with my afterlife. The way the Qur'an shatters this unfortunate concept. By the way, this concept is a new concept. This is not an old concept. This is a new development. It's a result of secularism. And the idea of secularism is to separate the worlds of morality and education from the rest of life. So your spiritual life and your moral life and it should be one thing, and education and public sphere, everything else should be separated. Those two worlds should not coexist together. Okay? So who you are at business and who you are at the masjid are two different things. This is business. Don't bring the masjid into this. Or this is a university. Don't bring religion into this. Or for example, you'll have companies, even in the Muslim world, sometimes you have, for example, American companies. And America is known for freedom of speech, but only in America. It's known for some freedom of speech. When they said they'll set up a company somewhere in like the Arab world somewhere, and they'll create a compound. Inside the compound, you pretend you're in America. And inside that compound, you can't talk about your religion. What? And you can't really openly pray, and you can't really do this, or you can't really, wait, what is it? Wow. I thought freedom of expression, freedom of speech, you could do whatever you want. No, not inside this compound. We don't tolerate religious discussions here. Really? So what happens then is this extreme idea of separating your religious life and your life of ibadah from your life of your career. And we, for the most part, the world, not just one country or another country, the world has experienced some form of secularization or another. So the way that the average Muslim is secularized, even if they're raised in a Muslim country, even if they heard adhan their entire life, even if whether they're in Pakistan or they're here or they're in Bangladesh or they're in Australia or they're in America, it doesn't matter. You know what's happened with us? What's happened with us is when you go to college, right? What's your motivation for going to college? It's to get a good degree so you can get a good job. That's your motivation, which of course equals dunya, right? But then you have this guilt, I'm going to do all these things for my dunya, I've become a techie, I've become a programmer, I've become a doctor, I've become an architect, but I haven't done anything for my dunya. Now I need to make some time for salah, I need to do hajj, I need to start learning some Arabic, memorize Qur'an, I need to start taking care of my deen, right? So what happens is people swing one way, then they swing the other way. And then a lot of people quit their career. They just quit their career. I just want to do something for Islam. I don't want my career anymore. Forget it. So Allah says, وَلَا يَأْبَ كَاتِبٌ. No writer should refuse. أَنْ يَكْتُبَ, to write things down. Now this is the part that really gets me. كَمَا عَلَّمَهُ اللَّهُ فَلْيَكْتُبْ. No writer should refuse writing things down just as Allah had taught him. So he should write it down. Wait, He didn't learn from the Prophet. He didn't learn from the angel Jibreel. He learned from some place how to write. Some other place. And what did he learn to write? Business contracts. Accounting, finance, isn't it? Which we today call a secular field, isn't it? And Allah's language is the way Allah taught him. كَمَا عَلَّمَهُ اللَّهُ. Now if you look at the word allama in the Qur'an, to teach, Allah says, وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهُ مَا لَمْ تَكُونُوا تَعْلَمُونَ. وَيُعَلِّمُكُم مَا لَمْ تَكُونُوا تَعْلَمُونَ وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. Allah is teaching you and Allah knows everything. Allah teaches you what you couldn't possibly have known yourselves. Allah says, عَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ. He taught the Qur'an. And now He says He taught the accountant how to write the language of accounting and finance and business transactions. He on the one hand talks about He taught revelation, and now He's talking about teaching business agreements. Why? Because Allah is now making all knowledge, all human knowledge, so long as it benefits society in some way, all of it is sacred to Allah. Knowledge itself is sacred to Allah, and He takes credit for it Himself. You may have learned from your teacher. You may have learned, for example, the language of science from your teacher, who may have learned it from his teacher, who may have learned it from his teacher. And you keep going further back and you're going to end up at the first human being, Adam alayhi salam. And Adam alayhi salam did not know any words until Allah taught him names for all things. Allama Adam al-asma. And that's the view we have to have of our education and our experiences. No experience is a waste. No learning is a waste. No job is a waste. It's a waste when you don't make advantage of it. When you don't take advantage of it. Everything Allah will give you is an opportunity. And you have to use that opportunity for something better, something good. So long as you're doing that, you're good. Don't get caught up in this deen versus dunya thing. And there's one final note on this, which you might not like to hear, but I have to say.